Well, welcome to another edition of SoCal Sports Report's weekly podcast. I'm John Stellman, along with Vince Morales and John Adams. We'll give you a little menu of what's on the table tonight. Leading off, of course, with Ohtani. He's just had a brilliant start, both on the mound and at the bat. In fact, I think he hit a home run tonight,
this afternoon.
To tie it, a two-run shot. And that was right to straightaway center, wasn't it?
And I got a final. Angels 3-2.
All right.
13.
That's always good news.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Ohtani and what he's done on the mound and at the bat. Also, the Dodgers have had stubbed their toes in Arizona here a little bit, and we'll talk about Kershaw and his rough start. March Madness, Villanova, Michigan. 79 to 62. It wasn't really a final I would like to have seen. I'll talk about the Kings, Ducks, Clippers, who came back from 19, but I don't think they're still going to make the playoffs. The Galaxy and the LA Football Club, we'll make a quick mention of that. John's going to handicap the Masters for us, so roll out your wallets and get ready to place your wagers. He's going to tell you.
Oh boy.
And we might mention the Chargers, who signed another no-name quarterback. I don't know when they're going to start thinking about a backup for Phillip Rivers, probably when he dies. Anyway, Ohtani. Great game last night, and another great game today. He had a good solid outing in Oakland last weekend. I think he's going to pitch again Sunday. Your thoughts, Vince, as we start off with you?
Well, it's remarkable. They were really babying him through spring training, and obviously you needed to be patient with him. But the first indications in spring training were not that he was going to be the shining star that he's become. He's the first since Babe Ruth to win as a starting pitcher and then start and homer as a player, non-pitcher in his next game in the same season, and it's never been done since Babe Ruth. So it's historic, and it's exactly the kind of thing that the Angels were looking for from him.
Right.
He pitched terrific. Just looked great against the A's, and then just hit the crap out of the ball against Cleveland. Angel fans should be excited.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, Vince and I discussed this actually a couple times about, is it best to start him down below and build on confidence and obviously they knew a lot about his work ethic and how he prepares and how he, all I keep hearing about is how hard he works and
right.
in preparation, even though he has tons of distractions. He throws 92 pitches the other day and goes 6 innings and strikes out 6 and, he only hangs a curveball to Chapman.
Right.
But it's quite interesting to watch him 3 days later grab a bat and hit a home run and goes 3 for 4 and 3 RBIs and scores a couple runs and it's I think it's very exciting for baseball. It's unique, it's different. So.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see this from other teams. I mean, other than we run into the odd pitcher that can hit sometimes,
right.
in the National League. But I was I think one of the things that I kind of watched when I watched him pitch against Oakland is I think he's where his success is he's learning how to pitch. You know what I mean? It's how to set up guys, how to bust in and work away. And I think he was so dominant in the Japanese league, he could just go, here it comes, and just go ahead and try to hit it, right? Where you can't do that. And so I think it's just, I think he's a big confidence guy too. Like there's a lot of success right now. And he's running off of it, and I think that's so. How does he handle the lulls? How do they get him? Like if he does have 2 bad outings and he goes over 12 or 15, like how does he bounce back? Well, going back to what people are saying is he's got a great work ethic. So hopefully that just continues to. And I think how they manage him is going to be the key thing. And
Yeah,
I
very
think
much
this
so.
whole 6-day thing is probably going to have to be key because that's what he's used to, right?
Exactly,
So
yeah.
so I don't know. Do you base the whole rotation all and the hitting all around? Is it all about him? I don't know. But so far in the stretch, we just took two out of 3 out of a team with Cleveland that owned us for 16-0 and killed us. So
Right.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, everybody's on a buzz. It's a high. It's a great way to start baseball season. But again, we'll see how it goes, and
Right.
and we'll go from there. But
Right.
he hits another home run today off of Cy Young Award winner, straight to center field, and I don't know. It's pretty impressive at times, but I think it's just calm down, everybody.
Yeah.
It's been fun, but let's just give it a
1
good
week doesn't
2
make
months.
doesn't
Right,
make a season.
exactly.
So,
Right. And I'll say the same thing that I said to Lakers fans. It's like, be patient, give it some time. There are 2 things going on here that are a bit unprecedented: the 6-man rotation
Right.
and a 2-way player. So there are going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some lessons to be learned, but I think Scioscia's the right disposition, the right intelligence, and the right kind of manager to handle it.
Right.
Are there going to be bumps? Of course there are. Is he going to have some droughts? Of course there are. But there's plenty of things to say that a guy like Scioscia can handle it well. He's got the 10-day DL at his disposal. This kid has options. If they want to send him down to the minors to either get him straight, get his head straight, if he needs that, but no indication that he will.
Right.
But he has that option. So I think things are looking good. And Scioscia has a lot of things at his disposal to make sure that this kid transitions well and becomes the kind of star that they hope he will be.
I was pretty impressed the way he came back in that Oakland game after he gave up the 3 hits, 2 singles and the home run. Then he proceeds to retire 14 of the last 15 batters. He walked 1 guy, but 92 pitches, 63 strikes, and 29 balls.
Yeah.
You want to be 2-1, and that's in excess of that. That was really impressive. And his fastball clocked out at 97, 99. That was pretty impressive. First pitch strikes, which I think was really important. He threw 14 of the 22 batters he faced. He threw first ball strikes, and there's no better way to get at a guy that come in there and have the advantage.
Yeah.
And I totally see where you're coming from there. But the one thing that I think that he needs to learn how to do is throw strikes that end up balls, right? So I saw him one time go, I think it was against Joyce or somebody like this. He threw it 98 right by him. And then I think Maldonado asked for an off-speed pitch, and he shook him off. And he says, I'm throwing it again. And he threw it 99 by him, right? And his next pitch was a split finger that ended up in the dirt that he swung at.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to say is like he actually almost was throwing too many strikes. And so that's what he did against Chapman. He tried to just get him off, and he threw a curveball that just hung there, and the guy hit it in the left field bleachers. Learning how to throw balls that start like strikes and end at balls to have guys chase is going to be.
Right.
It was amazing watching Garrett Richards throw that currevball last night, and he had more guys. Like it was like a wiffle ball. Like they had trouble hitting that.
Look,
And,
he's essentially a rookie.
Right.
Right.
And I don't mind my rookies as they're learning and getting that on-the-job training to just pound the strike zone. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to get hit hard. These are big league hitters, and they can hit 99-mile-per-hour fastballs. But I don't mind him pounding the strike zone. He's going to get there, and he's going to get there with a guy like Scioscia, who was a backstop himself, with Maldonado, who's a smart receiver.
Yep.
There's going to be those growing pains. That's fine. I prefer a guy to come out, a rookie to come out pumping the strike zone rather than nibbling. Yeah. So he'll get there. He's going to get there. He's looked good. He's very impressive.
When's his next
Sunday he starts.
Sundays?
Sunday he starts.
Is everybody's going to do the beginning of the Sunday starter this every Sunday?
I see that Shoemaker went on the disabled list, but they're going to bring. They've already brought Bridwell up,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's any. You don't miss a beat there. He made 20 starts for the Angels after Epler stole him from the Orioles, and he was 10-3 with a 3.64 ERA.
Yeah.
I was surprised he didn't make the opening day roster.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Shoemaker's been since 2014. He's been injured a lot. He hasn't really shown what he had in that 2014 season. So I don't think Bridwell's going to start Friday in Shoemaker's spot, and I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they have the depth to go 6 starters, and still have a couple of guys down below.
The Angels also picked up Almonte from the Royals today, and he's going to start in the minors. And he looked terrific in the high minors last year.
Yeah.
He was throwing under 2 ERA. I mean, he's striking people out. So I don't know where he fits, but they're going to find out. With him at Salt Lake.
Yeah, that's they can never have enough pitching. Dodgers go into Arizona and lose the first 2. I guess they
They got swept. Today.
Oh, they didn't.
Yeah.
They played a getaway day, so they got swept.
Not what we were expecting after they bounced back against the Giants.
And a lot of things to be worried about. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned. I think there are plenty of people who are going to say, "Look, it's early. Yeah, let's take it easy. Let's pump the brakes." I'm worried. I'm very worried. I'm worried that the guys that they were relying on to hit. That Turner can't get back fast enough, that Taylor and Kemp in the outfield may not be, Forsythe and Utley's just unusable at this point. And then you go beyond that. There's still a lot to be excited about. The starting pitching has, in that series against the Giants, they gave up 1 run in 25 innings pitched, starting innings. But it's sort of a good news, bad news.
They
for
need
the
support.
Dodgers,
They need support too.
They lost 2 to the Giants, and they've got swept by the Diamondbacks. They've given up. They've scored 1 or fewer runs in 4 of their first 7 games. They've been shut out 3 times in their first 7 games. These are all not good indications of where this team needs to be and was last year. This is not a championship.
And
team.
I don't think you can blame it on one guy being out. I mean, Turner's out.
You can't. You can't do that.
He's a big part of it, but you can't.
Right. I think what's happening is that some of the things and some of the lightning in the bottle that they caught last year are being exposed. They were able to sort of survive Forsythe having a bad year. I don't think Forsythe is the guy. Moves need to be made. Utley needs to be on the bench or coaching or somewhere, managing in the minors. He has deteriorated and he's done. Kemp and Taylor, Peterson shouldn't even be in the major leagues. These are all things that they're just not hitting. This team is just not hitting. They don't have, a guy like Tolles who could be a nice leadoff hitter with some pop. Doesn't walk a lot, but he swings the bat and puts pressure on pitchers. He needs to be here, not a guy like Jock Peterson. Too many things that are not happening, and too many guys in the bullpen taking away spots where they should be able to have a Tolles and a Peterson in that outfield, but they've chosen to. Roberts has chosen to go with 8 relief pitchers. To me, it's nonsense. 13 pitchers in a staff. I know it's the way, it's sort of the trend. Everybody's doing that. But until things start changing and maybe the rules of baseball are you get to have 26 or 27 guys on your roster, things change in that way, it's just impossible that if you have 13 guys on your pitching staff, there are going to be guys getting at bats who have no business getting at bats.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Jock Peterson's no longer a big league hitter. He just isn't.
No, he's.
And then for me, the other thing is that now we've got we're on the precipice of some really dark times. Is Kershaw a guy you give a 5-year contract to?
Yeah,
he's not giving up a lot of runs, but he's given up 3 home runs in 2 starts. Mm-hmm. Right. And Kenley Jansen now, there's a bigger problem there. Right. Even if they get this straightened out and he raises his velocity, and that's the other thing with Kershaw, his velocity is down. It's way down.
Right.
And some of that is age and the number of innings that he pitched last year. With Jansen, it's sort of the same thing. A lot of innings pitched, but he's a personality problem right now. He thinks that he's an equal with Kershaw. He thinks that he can dictate things in the clubhouse, like their meetings. He tried to change the timing of when a meeting took place.
Right.
And again, he thinks he's on par with Kershaw. No, it's shut up and get behind Kershaw.
Right, yeah.
Kershaw's the man.
It's his
and
team.
you have no business. But he's very outspoken. He wants to do these things. He's clearly lying about the injury, the hamstring thing. It is affecting him. And then when the media talks to him, Dave Roberts says his mechanics sometimes when they get out of whack, he sometimes loses velocity. And Kenley was, no, he's wrong. It's not mechanics. That's not my problem. And they're saying, well, your velocity was down. And he's saying on the media, you're the only guys that care about my velocity. Fans don't care. Yes, we do, Kenley. Yes, we do.
Yeah, if they are,
because
it's
when
hitting
you're
the ball.
throwing 89 mile an hour
Yeah.
cutters, trying to get guys out, when you're a closer, that's not going to get it done.
Right.
That's not going to get it done.
Right.
He lost a tie game,
Yeah.
by giving up the home run to Panic, and then he blew a 3-run lead for a save. Those are things that if Jansen is not Jansen, we have nobody to fill that in.
Right.
And I'm very worried.
Yeah, they're worried about bridging the gap between the starters to get to Jansen. They better start worrying about Jansen as well.
I think that right now, obviously, the front office is continuing to do its work. They're continuing to figure out how they're going to fill spots. Forsythe has been dreadful defensively at third base. Farmer's been a little bit better, but the bottom line is that he's still sort of a catcher over there.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Jock Peterson was never the answer. Again, Dave Roberts, sometimes you think, sometimes I love him, and sometimes I just hate the way that Jock Peterson may have deserved a pat on the back for what he did in the World Series and in the postseason last year. He didn't deserve to have a spot on this roster. He just didn't.
Yeah.
Just didn't. And there's no reason he should be there. And again, Utley was re-signed. He's a clubhouse guy. He's great in the club. That's all great, but those are two spots that are just complete black holes.
Especially when you're carrying
They're
that many
outs.
pitchers.
They're
you know,
outs, right? Especially when you're carrying that many pitchers. It's just outs. So I'm very worried that Roberts and the front office will continue to try and fill these holes. It's disconcerting because there are games when they're scoring 9 runs, and then other games when 4 of the first 7, 1 or fewer, and 3 of those shutouts.
Last night they get 4 hits and 1 run in 7 innings against Zach Godley.
Yeah,
Godley.
Godley.
4
And then
hits
what
and
is
1
it?
run.
Tim Burke or whatever beats Kershaw in the game 1 nothing.
Yeah.
And Panic goes yard against him, and and I remember Vince. He says, "Yeah, you know what? This guy gave us fits last year. Ended up beating him again." And it kind of goes back to what we were talked about. It's almost like there's a lot of players there on that team that you can try to piece into playing multiple positions. But again, if they're not hitting, they're not hitting. Like it's
Yeah, you're not
yeah. But
yeah.
I always was questionable with the whole Matt Kemp thing because I had heard rumors the other day that the Dodgers are interested in Ryan Braun and doing a whole Braun Kemp thing. And
Yeah,
I don't
I
know if
heard
there's
that too.
other guys involved in that whole deal. But
Yeah, there would have to be.
But I just yes, he lost a bunch of weight. But how's his bat speed? Is it still I
Made a couple of good plays out there defensively.
Yeah.
I think he's all right. He's not going to be the answer. The Dodgers are not trying, but it's an indication of what was wrong with this roster to begin with. That we
Right.
sort of said, oh, it's going to be okay. He looked good in spring training. He was fit. He's lean. He's swinging a good bat. And then the rest of spring training was down, and he couldn't find his swing, and he's just not there yet. There's a dearth of power in this lineup right now. And it's not just the loss of Turner. It's because you've got some black holes out there. Puig finally, hit his first. Taylor hasn't quite been the same guy, and that the bell may have struck. The clock may have struck 12 on Chris Taylor. And
somebody woke him up.
Yeah, he woke him up. So.
Don't poke the bear.
Yeah,
That's right.
But it's too late. So with Puig and Peterson, our outfield consists of guys who are just not hitting for power.
And you can't just leave it all on Bellinger and Puig's shoulders to do everything.
No,
and that was the
exactly.
whole thing. Taylor was setting up the table for these guys to
Yes.
drive them in.
Right.
And if your leadoff guy's not getting on and making things
Right.
happen, and because Taylor's not a leadoff guy that's going to steal second.
We know who Jock Peterson is.
right.
We know who Jock
He's
Peterson
an
is.
eighth inning guy. He's ninth inning defenseman.
We know what he can do. Tolles needs to be there.
I
We
agree.
don't know what Tolles can do. What we have seen flashes of a brilliant bat from Tolles. A guy who can get on base, put some pressure, has some speed to get on base. And I love the idea of, Seager, Tolles, Ballinger somewhere at the top of the lineup, and Seager,
Because
Tolles could be
every
a
time
guy.
I saw Tolles play, he's always put the bat on the ball and made things happen. But again, it goes back down to what, he's not a very good defender. Well, I'd rather have somebody scoring me runs and getting a bunch of stuff going than, maybe booting a ball in the outfield or something like that. But I you know what, Vince, I think you're right. There's going to have to be something here in the next week or so that there's going to have to be a change because, kind of doing what you're doing, and by the way, Turner can't come back fast enough.
Right.
But again, you don't want him to come back, 70%. You got to
and
make sure
then
he
hurt
come back,
himself again,
100%.
And the problem,
Because I think the staff can keep you in ball games, but you're going to have to score
right.
runs.
The problem now is that you go into Candlestick 2-5 against a team that split with you, who is thinking we take 2 out of 3, and that's a disastrous start. It just is. If you go 3-7 in your first 10, that's a problem.
Yeah, you don't want to dig a hole too deep
No.
too early.
That's right. Because Colorado will be good. The Diamondbacks will be good. Who knows what will happen with the Giants? Once Longoria and McCutcheon start hitting that. I mean, they're out Jackson. I mean, they were 2 for 45 against the Dodgers in those first 4 games. It was awful. It was awful, and it was wonderful to see. If you hate the Giants, but that's not going to continue. And the Giants are going to get Samardzija back. The Giants are going to get Bumgarner back. Those things are going to start to happen for them. There's somebody else who's out. I can't even think one of their players who's been injured, who's sidelined as well. But so they're going to get those guys healthy, and then you never know. And then you're chasing.
Yeah.
With regard to baseball, there's a couple of things that I just wanted to throw out there. I saw that Giancarlo at home in his Yankee debut struck out 5 times.
Golden sombrero.
The platinum sombrero. Because it's
platinum
5. Because 4 is golden.
And they booed him.
It's also called the Olympic rings, I found out. I had to Google that today. So it's the platinum sombrero, the Olympic rings. 5 strikeouts in a game.
Yeah. And they booed him.
Yeah, and they booed him.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, it's like 35 degrees, raining and misty, and it was ugly, you
Right.
know.
He
and
probably
they
didn't
booed
even
him.
want to
And
be
then
there.
then the next game he goes yard, and Judge goes yard today, and a couple other guys, but
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Then the other thing was that I saw that the Twins were all up in arms again about a rookie for the Orioles, bunting.
Oh, up 7.
Yeah. They were down. The Orioles were down
throwing
7.
a no-no? Was he
one hitter? He was throwing a 1-hitter. So the Twins were throwing a 1-hitter, and it's late in the game. The Twins are up 7-0. The kid comes up. And here's the thing.
By the way, they have the shift
and
on.
the Twins are shifting.
Yeah.
The Twins are shifting. So if the Twins are shifting, I mean, if they still think, I mean, if they're not playing it straight and going, you know what, it's 7-0. We're just gonna play it straight. And he bunts, then I think So, but Dozier is all up in arms saying, the leadership over there, they're good. They're going to have something to say to him. It's like, you were in a shift.
Yeah.
You were in a shift with a 7-run lead.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pissed off.
Yeah.
Because this rookie's trying to get hit. Well, the rookie got on, and then they loaded the bases, and then they ended up scoring 3 runs. But then it ended up something like 7-3. But that's the kind of thing that if that's my kid on my team,
he makes something happen.
He makes something happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I hate that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's the sort of thing that I sort of dislike about Mattingly too, because I remember last year Mattingly was all pissed at the Dodgers because I think it was Puig swung 3-0. The Dodgers were up 5-0, and Puig swung at a 3-0 pitch. And Mattingly, after the game, he didn't just bite his lip or not say anything or tell his pitcher next time you drill him. He had to say something to the media and say that he thought it was Bush League. And I've played baseball a long time, and I think it's just nonsense.
It's ridiculous
to think that I would tell. I mean, coaching. You tell kids it's 3-0. Swing at it. We're up 5-0. Just swing.
Yeah.
Swing the bat.
Yeah, that's right.
But apparently Don Mattingly thinks it's a big insult to him and his team for a guy to be swinging the bat 3-0 with a 5-run lead.
And you look at you can look at him and go, I could load the bases, see you to grand slam. I'm only up 1 now. I mean, just so
Exactly.
5 runs is not secure.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
that's what I like about Socha. I mean, he's still making moves. They're down 9-1 or whatever. You know, he's
Yeah.
He's still, you never know what can happen in the game. I hate to hear those kind of stuff.
To me, it's just I get certain things, taking guys out or running and up, but stuff like that just drives me crazy, especially when it's guys like Mattingly.
Did you guys get the email about the Rams trade that we were going to dump
Yeah.
in here? Yeah, that's Cooks.
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, Brandon Cook. Yeah.
Pretty good wide receiver from the Patriots. Going to take Sammy Watkins' place, who was a big disappointment. But how does McVay work him in now? Is he going to? He likes to spread the ball around. He likes his tight ends, and he likes his Curly getting the ball.
Well, he's a blazer. When he came out of Oregon State, he was 4.33 40-yard dash.
Yeah.
So he's had 3 straight years 1,000-yard receiving. He's a speedster who stretches the field. So, like Sammy Watkins, he's not a big body like Sammy Watkins. He's smaller. He's under 6 feet. He's about 180, but he can burn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing with the Patriots is that they looked at him. He's got 1 more year at $8.5 million, and then he's going to demand number 1 receiver money, which I think the talk is that he wants $14 million. I don't know if the Rams are going to give him that or if they think that they can sign him for a little bit less. But the Patriots said, "You're not number 1 material. We can do better without you. We're not going to wait until to just lose you to free agency. We're going to trade you and get a first round pick." And so a first and a sixth for Brandon Cooks and a fourth. But he's a good receiver, and
he's
think
scrappy too. Yeah,
I think for the Rams, he doesn't necessarily need to be a number 1,
right?
But to stretch the field and to be a speedster, and then you got Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp and Farrell Cooper and Tavon Austin, there are things going on.
But does he think he needs to be a number 1?
That's what we'll see. I mean, I know that the Rams have said that they want to re-sign him. So they want to extend him before he becomes a free agent. So right now they're over the cap. I mean, they're over the salary cap, right? Yeah. And this has put them over by about $4 million. Things can shift around, and if they are able to extend him, then they can sort of defer some of that money to the cap for next year, which is, I think, ideally what they want to do. I think he's a good player. I think it's a good addition. But the thing that I keep asking is something that you've asked. Is like, where are the tight ends? Mm-hmm. And we see that they took a run at Eifert, Tyler Eifert from the Bengals, who was a free agent. He re-signed with the Bengals, so the Rams didn't get him. But I'm still sort of wondering, where is the tight end, right? There was talk about Gronkowski, but it looks like they were talking to the Patriots, but it was about Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I tell you right now, what's going to be crazy is Sammy Watkins signed in KC has really made this whole wide receiver thing crazy. Like, these number 1s now are going to ask for a stupidest amount of money because you're going to say, I blew his numbers out of the water and you gave him that. Right. I deserve way more than that. So I think the numbers are going to get nuts for number 1 receivers, which, that whole signing of Sammy Watkins is could turn into a nightmare for these owners. But
I think
I think it's more or less you need to come to Brandon Cook and go, you need to calm down. This is not your team, right? This is a receiver's core. It's not your receiving core, right? And just say, hey, look at, you're probably going to be in the bullpen to return punts also because, if this guy goes down, you can return punts, but we're going to use your legs, and,
and he's got to love coming to the Rams. They'll use him in some running plays and some other things, kind of in the scat back or a slot or, a fly sweep or something along those lines. Those things are going to obviously raise his value. I think for the Rams, they may have entertained ideas about Odell Beckham Jr., but he clearly wants way too much money.
Yeah, they can't.
And I think that's the best thing that could have happened is, and this guy's a bargain. So the Rams are all in for next season, right?
Yeah.
And I know they want to extend him, but it's not going to break anybody's heart if they don't extend him.
And I actually think that the Patriots might win the Super Bowl if they have him. He got a concussion in the first quarter, right? Knocked him out, Cook.
Right.
I mean, I still think that could have been a more interesting game there
it's interesting because the things that I've been reading out of Boston and New England are that Brady's not heartbroken about this.
No,
he's not sad at all that Cooks is gone. So
because he's got Edelman coming back, right?
Yeah, but
So
if you,
I think he was more heartbroken about Amendola than he was
Oh.
Cook.
Oh yeah.
So
but I think it's good. And
Yeah.
then meanwhile, I keep thinking, this is a tale of two teams, right? And the Rams keep moving the ball forward. They matriculate the ball down the field, and the Chargers are signing
Geno
Geno Smith.
But I mean, it's almost like the Chargers have their foot on the. I'm sorry, the Rams have their foot on the Chargers' neck, and it almost feels like the Chargers are just like, that's okay. We're okay with mediocrity. We're okay with just being that team over here. It's almost like the Jets and the Giants, right? We're over here. We'll be competitive, or do they have something up their sleeve? I don't know, but Geno Smith is not your answer to Phillip Rivers. So I was really shocked by that because I thought they were going to go with, unless they're saying that Cardell Jones isn't their backup, right? And that's what they want to, and are they going to try to find somebody in the draft? I actually thought they were going to stay with Cardell Jones and try to find maybe somebody or trade up to get
They
a
might
quarterback.
they might trade up. I don't know that it's likely. So they have the 17th pick, right? Something like that, right? Right around
Yeah.
there, 17th pick. I know that they're allowed to talk to Darnold and Rosen because they're local, so they don't have to use those as their number of,
Right, yeah.
of people that they can invite and work out and talk to. But it looks like they're also talking to the top quarterbacks in the draft. So it's possible that they're expecting to move up at least a little bit in case one of them falls to them. I think it's weird. I mean, because the guys that they're talking to, I mean, Rosen and Darnold will likely be gone unless they trade up.
Right.
Josh Allen will likely be gone. So
Right.
they're talking to Baker Mayfield, who I guess if they traded up, they may be able to. And I just don't know how much sense that makes. But it could. They could fit. But if it's Lamar Jackson, then I'm thinking, oh my God.
Because that's where Lamar Jackson's going, is right around that
Yeah,
17
right,
yeah. Right.
number.
So now
and he doesn't even have an agent.
Yeah.
His mom.
Yeah. Oh, was his mom?
Yeah.
Well, she must be a tough cookie then.
It's his mom.
Yeah.
It's almost as if the Chargers made the playoffs last year and the Rams didn't.
Yeah.
The Rams are trying to improve themselves. Well, the Chargers are standing pat. They're going into a new stadium in a couple of years.
'Cause-
How many tickets are they going to sell if they continue to play mediocre football?
Right,
Mediocre
exactly,
football.
and not just that, you have to still buy your seat first, then you have to buy your season tickets. I mean,
PLC, yeah.
it's not going to be a pretty penny. So, are they kind of waiting for that year when they move into that stadium and they're going to be aggressive and start acting like the Rams are?
It feels like they feel a little handcuffed to Phillip Rivers and that contract through 2019. I get that, and I understand that they want to be respectful of him. Obviously, the move to LA really ruffled feathers. It was something that Phillip Rivers had said from the beginning. He just didn't want to move.
No, he still lives in San Diego.
Yeah, still lives in
Still
San Diego,
commutes, yeah.
and didn't want to make that move. And it may be some sort of concession on San Diego's front office part to keep Rivers happy. And that's why you put a couple of guys like Cardale Jones and Geno Smith behind him, because it's like, their games are so different that that's not typical. But it just makes you wonder what Anthony Lynn is thinking about. Do those guys fit into the plan if Rivers is to go down? And at his age, that could happen.
Oh,
I mean, it
likely.
could happen getting
Yeah.
out of bed.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
so I'm not sure what's happening with the Chargers. I really am not.
Yeah. Nobody is.
They're just not moving the needle.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. For a team that was so close to the playoffs, you'd think they'd be aggressive and want to get out there, get those pieces that'll get them to the playoffs, because they weren't that far off. But
Yeah.
they're just sitting back and figuring they can make the playoffs next year with what they.
I know
Unless they're going to get really creative
Yeah.
in the draft somehow.
Yeah.
watching that LAFC, the Derby, the LAFC and the Galaxy, the Chargers would love to have their house rocking
I
the
know
way
it.
that
Yeah.
was. But
That was exciting.
we can talk about that in a little bit. I wanted to talk a little bit about what Jim Mora has been saying publicly about Josh Rosen. And look, there are plenty of people out there who are saying, who gives a crap what Jim Mora thinks? He had one of the best quarterbacks around.
That's right.
And look at the crap. You know, they gave him filet mignon, and he came up with shiz on a shingle. You know, so. So maybe, but it's also very telling because we know the types of things that our a friend of the show, Chris Foster, has said about them. We've read the subtext of that Josh Rosen was aloof and thought he was superior to everybody, smarter and entitled, and those things apparently are true because Jim Mora is publicly saying that this kid is you gotta keep him focused. You got to get his concentration. He's a millennial. He wants to know why. And it sounds like he doesn't put up with a lot of bull. And it's like, well, you're a rookie in this league. Guys are going to tie you to goalposts. They're going to make you carry their pads.
Right.
And you can't have this sort of, because nowhere you're going are you going to step in and be the starter, unless it's Cleveland. There's just no place you're going to be the
that's
starter.
Right. No.
But for what he said was the best fit for the Browns is a blue collar guy like Sam Darnold, not Josh Rosen. He's a millennial. He needs to be challenged intellectually so he doesn't get bored. He wants to know why. If you can hold his concentration level and focus only on football for a few years, he will set the world on fire. That's a lot of ifs in that sentence, and that's a lot of wait a minute. Are you writing this guy a letter of recommendation or a condemnation? Because so I don't know, but it's consistent with the underlying narrative about Rosen that we've heard.
Yeah, and he's also come out and said like he's the most ready to start in the NFL than any quarterback that's coming out of this draft. Like he's ready for the NFL.
Right.
He doesn't have to sit and wait. Right. It's just make sure that whoever's coaching him is guiding him in the right direction because he's a pretty bright kid. He's got a strong arm. He's very good when it comes to running an offense, but he wants to go to the line thinking like the offensive coordinator. And Moore even said he come off the field many times after 12 to 15 play touchdown and be able to say and this play we could have done that. It could have been. So he's very smart. But again, I agree with you, Vince. Like what he's saying is like. You got to have him focused because he kind of reminds me a little bit the way that Moore is talking about him. It kind of reminds me of a Cutler, right? Cutler is that kind of guy that has played football. When things aren't going your way, you're like, are you even trying? Like it's frustrating to watch. But the kid, but Cutler's got a gun for an arm, and he could really surprise guys. Mm-hmm. And when his team was winning and things were going well, he was very good. But like Morris said, he goes, that Texas A&M game last year, he goes, we don't win that game if we don't have Josh Rosen. The stuff that he was doing and the big throws he was making were gigantic. So when the flow is going and everything's working in his direction, he's very good at making great decisions and making great throws. But again, when things go bad, I think it's easy where that's where the immaturity comes out in him, and that's where he loses focus. So I think it's going to be key to have the right guy guiding him in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think that obviously Jim Moore wasn't the right guy for Josh Rosen, at least not for team success. Moore had Michael Vick in Atlanta at a time when he should have been letting him loose. So I don't know what kind of a judge he is of this sort of thing. I do know that he's probably doing Rosen a bit of a favor, but anything that he can do to torpedo the chances of the Browns and Hugh Jackson taking, Rosen. Jackson is just a quarterback killer. And it's painful for me to think that Darnold is going to go there.
And they all talked to him about Jackson being a quarterback guru.
He's not. He's clearly not. Deshaun Kaiser could have been developing right now. I don't know what he thought was wrong with that kid. He's still young. Mm-hmm. He's got a great arm. Yeah. Seems to be a smart guy. It's just, hopefully he'll find success somewhere else.
I don't know. If I was at Cleveland, why am I not spending all my money on the offensive line? Exactly. That's the whole. It's a protect.
Especially if you what you could have gotten if you trade that number one pick.
Joe Thomas. He just retired.
If you trade that number one pick, right? trade down.
Yeah.
And
You get the
sign,
Notre Dame
and
kid.
sign somebody.
You get the Notre Dame
yeah.
kid, yeah. You know, he's going to go, what, 4 or 5,
Yeah.
I think, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. When has anything that the Browns done made sense?
Yeah.
Not for a long
Not
time.
recently.
Yeah.
March Madness. How'd you guys like the grand finale, Michigan and Loyola?
I think we talked so much about parity, and the fact that Loyola, Chicago was
Yeah.
able to make it, and then a
Illinois.
team like Michigan, who, I don't know, I didn't feel it certainly wasn't the best team record-wise to come out of the Big Ten. Parity is great until you get to the end, and just like we saw from Butler a few years ago, right? They make it there; they're back-to-back, chances in the title game, and they lay an egg. And so you get a team like Michigan who just weren't anywhere near the quality of Villanova.
Yeah.
I think that the best seed they ever played in the whole tournament was a 6 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nova's just very good, and they're just so good.
Yeah,
And I think at some point we're going to look back on this team, and we're going to look back at Jay Wright and the types of teams that he's developed at Villanova over the years, and think, wow, this guy is going to take his place in the pantheon of great coaches, and this is going to develop and reemerge as a great program. So
I think Nova's now in the talks of being the top 3-4 programs in the nation. You have
should
your
be.
Dukes and North Carolinas, all the time, and maybe you could throw Michigan State in there, but I think Nova now is where you're going to start to get these elite kids now going, and Kentucky you could probably throw in there, but they're in the top 4 or 5 in elite programs, and they put themselves now on the stage as one of the places to go and play for one of the best coaches in college basketball. And it's a great story from, I think, what was he at Holy Cross and Hofstra, right? And he's worked himself all the way up, and Nova, you got to give it to the AD. He's had some 18 and 17 seasons and 19 and 16 seasons, and he's had some bad seasons, and he's worked his way up to putting together.
One 13-win season at Villanova.
Yeah.
But he held on to him. He kept on to
him. And so it just comes down to exactly what Vince said. Is this like that? It's unique and different. It's a great tournament. It's a fun time of the year. You get for 2 weeks straight. You get to see these teams that you've never heard of, and they make runs, and it's great that you see these kids that are juniors and seniors playing basketball, and they take it. You hear them in interviews going, "Yeah, it's gonna be really cool." They give me one of the seats from the bench, and I'm gonna try to keep my jersey. I don't think you hear that from the one and done freshmen. So they don't think that way. Where these kids are like, I'm gonna go work. Next year I know I'm not good enough to go play in the NBA or the G League. I'm a 5'10" point guard. So, it's great to see that. But then when it gets down to the nitty gritty and you run into Goliath, I mean, it's ugly, right? I mean, Nova won all their games by double digits. They covered all their spreads that they had. Gamble, for all you gamblers, right? Gamble responsibly. But, it's just, and then it's a long, 2.5 weeks. It's just a long time to where, the benches aren't strong enough, and it comes down to another reason why guard play is strong. It was Brunson is his name, is a great point guard. You got the kid who's their 6th man, DiVincenzo.
Dante DiVincenzo.
He comes out and scores 31, and gets hot.
Nuts.
And they can hit it from 3. They're very explosive. And I don't know how many he's going to lose, but he's now going to be getting these McDonald's All-Americans going his way. And
his reputation is
it's going to be the team. And who's going to sink down? Is North Carolina going to go down? Is Kentucky going to go down? I know Duke's got a couple superstars coming in, but again, they're losing a couple superstars.
Right, it's a couple come in, couple go out.
So
revolving door.
So it's they're here for a while. Obviously they were the number 1 team overall, right?
Yeah.
No, Virginia.
No,
was.
they were a 1 seed.
But they were
But there was debate over who was the best team.
Yeah.
They played the better style. that wasn't just a slow it down,
yeah,
clog
yeah,
it up
yeah.
sort of style of play. But Philadelphia,
Yeah.
the Eagles Super Bowl, Villanova national title.
I'm
and
sorry, people, but
the
there's
process.
no chance that the Phillies get into this.
No.
Yeah. that ain't
Oh my
gonna
God! With what Gabe Kapler is doing with that, he's used like 21 pitchers in 3 games,
Yeah.
right? 21 pitchers in 3 games, and actually goes out to the mound and calls the bullpen, and there's nobody warming up. Did you not see that?
No.
Oh my God! It actually.
happen. Oh, no way.
Yeah,
No, he went to the bullpen. He motions the bullpen, and it's like nobody's coming out. The guy's like, "Oh, get him up, start throwing." It's like, how do you make that mistake at the big league level?
Unbelievable.
Oh, that's
And
hilarious.
it got the manager for I can't remember who they were playing got tossed because he was like, "Why is he getting all these pitches? Why are you giving him all these pitches? He wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Who cares?" You should,
yeah,
and
you're
he
not
got
replacing
tossed.
an injured pitcher.
Yeah,
so
he got
Wow.
tossed. It was ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
But Kapler, is taking ownership, but he's running it. It's weird. It's a weird situation there. It's like analytics on steroids.
Oh.
and maybe Gabe Kapler on steroids too. I mean, he's a buff guy.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, he's a swole dude. So it's interesting, funny thing. So no, maybe not them in Philadelphia, but the Broad Street Bullies will make the
the
playoffs
Sixers
this year.
are- yeah,
the
the
Sixers are
Sixers,
the
yeah.
process.
Sixers are looking good. Yeah.
The Sixers are looking good.
Yeah.
Trusting the process.
Yeah.
Looking at the NHL, the Kings beat Colorado. What they had to do, they took care of business Tuesday night. Ducks have the Wild tonight without Cam Fowler. That's going to be a
I think
huge,
he's done through all the playoffs, right?
huge injury through the playoffs. The way it looks out, if the playoffs started right now, the Kings are third. The Ducks are number 1 wild card. The Ducks would be at Vegas, and the Kings would be against San Jose.
Yeah, but there's still plenty of games.
We got
Oh,
3
yeah.
more
Yeah, we
games.
got-
Yeah.
So-
But can we talk about Raquel's goal against the Kings? I'm sorry. Through the 5-hole and over the shoulder
Yeah.
to win the game.
Yeah, that was
Sorry,
pretty
I just
good.
had to throw
Yeah.
that in there. Yeah. Oh my God.
No, that was good. But,
and
but the Kings got a point. So
Yeah, no, exactly.
And that was the
I think
key.
the Ducks are playing playoff hockey, but so are the Kings. You could see they're playing playoff hockey.
Yeah.
Down 3-1, tie it up, win
Yeah.
in overtime. Like they're playing good hockey, but you play great and you come back and win in Edmonton, and then you lay an egg against the Canucks. But then you come back and you play good, and
Beat Colorado.
you gotta continue to go down. Like these, like it's the Wild, it's Dallas, and Arizona's playing good hockey right now.
Yeah.
Like it's not going
They
to be
beat,
easy.
They beat Vegas the other night.
Yeah. So
you know-
it's not going to be easy, and I don't know who
Yeah.
you have.
Well,
two.
here's
you
the
have
thing.
2 left, right?
No, you have 3. Here's the
do you play?
Here's the thing, and I'll get to that in 1 second. But here's the thing: the Kings are drafting on the Ducks right now.
Right.
So we got the Avs on the tail end.
Right,
The
exactly.
tail end of the
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to back.
Yeah, get the back- and
we're gonna
Minnesota.
we'll also get the Wild
Yeah.
after the Ducks.
Yeah,
and you'll get Dallas.
And we'll get Dallas.
and you got
So you always get them the day after.
Exactly.
They're beat
so
to
they
crap.
can exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Exactly.
welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So we've got 3 games left, and
Who do you end with?
I got to check. I think it's Dallas.
So you only have 2 games left, and we have 3.
No. Oh, let me
I
double
think
check.
you have 2 and we have 3.
Please hold.
But it's great, and I'm a little scared with Gibson's high body injury, but hopefully that's just he's going to be okay because Miller's doing a hell of a job as a backup goalie.
Well, yeah.
If I want to talk about something great, I think the great thing that happened in Chicago, and I did not know about this. Did you understand what's going on with? So I didn't know that there is a person up in the press box, right, at every single hockey game.
Right, there's an emergency goalie.
Is a local guy, right, who is an elite hockey goalie. When I say elite, like he plays in an elite league, he maybe played in college, but he's not good enough to play in the NHL.
Right.
He sits up in this press box, and if any of the 2 goalies go down, so if
Right, he's an emergency goalie for both teams.
both teams, right? So in Chicago, both goalies go out by the second period. I think
No, it was late in the third. So they had one guy who was down, so they had to call up another guy. Then they started their goalie.
Right.
He got injured in the first. They brought in their second goalie, and he made it through into the third period.
Okay, gotcha.
And then had cramps and couldn't return.
Yeah.
So they had already gone up to the press box guy.
Said, hey, you better start stretching.
36-year-old Scott Roberts.
No, Foster.
Excuse me, Scott Foster.
Scott Foster.
He's an accountant in Chicago. He played at Western Michigan, right? He's in a cubicle. He says, got to go to the rink. He leaves. He calls in, stops 14 shots. Okay? They don't score on him. And Chicago wins the game, and the place goes nuts.
They're shouting his name.
Yeah.
It's going nuts. And
in his interview, he goes, going to
afterwards.
work tomorrow. Just, don't get you, like.
Yeah.
And
His great line was, I'm at my peak.
Yeah.
36 years, I'm hitting my peak.
and I guess, around downtown Chicago, there's a lot of jersey sales places. They're like, everybody coming in going, do you have a Foster 90 jersey? Do you have a Foster 90 jersy? It's like, no, I don't have a Foster 90 jersey. The guy's not even. So, but I didn't know. But
he was playing beer league.
And that is in every. He plays in two. He plays in a beer league, but he plays in an elite league. But that happens in every rink. So there's a guy in Anaheim that could go to each team.
Yeah, he was saying that they call him up. He's done it before. He gets to sit in the press box, and he says most of the time, I just get a free meal, watch the game.
And there you go.
And that's it.
And when he came out, right, the captains and assistant captains tap him on the deal. He goes, we're going to try our damnedest to keep you not getting hurt, because this is not, you just hang in there, kid. It's like, no problem. And he was
a great
phenomenal.
story. Just a great story.
Yeah.
And then to see some of the highlights and to hear the crowd chanting his name.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
Asking for shirts, jerseys. Where's the
Where's the Foster 90 shirt?
Yeah, so the day after, I said, since your wife's a Blackhawks
yeah.
fan, I said, has she gotten her Scott Foster jersey yet?
Yeah. She's like, they're so bad. She's like, oh, let's go Cubs.
So it's Dallas. It's the Wild in Dallas. And the Kings
so
only
you-
have but again, it's at the tail end of the back-to-backs after seeing
when
you.
did the Ducks get that?
We don't.
Well, they did earlier. That's the point, is that they have it the other way. When a team comes in, that the Kings would get them first, and the Ducks would get them on the
So
tail
we
end
go
of the
tonight,
back-to-back.
Friday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And Sunday's in Arizona.
At Arizona, yeah. Clippers, well, they need to run the table. They came back from 19 points down against San Antonio. That was nice.
Showing heart.
So the Clippers are 10th seed. They have the Jazz, who are the number 4 seed tonight. They play the Nuggets. They finish with the Nuggets, who are 9th. So they got to jump the Nuggets. So that they're playing them head to head. They got to win that game. They're playing the Pelicans, who are number 8th.
Yep.
Who are number 8 seed, and they play the Lakers to finish the season, who are number 11. So their work is cut out for them. But the thing is, you win out, and it's not impossible. You win out, and you could go.
It's possible.
And then you get Golden State if you went out.
Yeah. Well, Houston maybe.
Houston.
Houston, yeah.
That would be fun. That would be a fun storyline, though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's true.
With Chris Paul.
Coming back, yeah. That was a heck of a game between the Galaxy and the LA Football Club.
It was like in the first half, and I texted Vince. I'm like, "Are you getting some of this? Because it's electric."
It was.
And then I was only watching what's happening with the LA Football Club. Like it was dominating. Like it was
2-0 there. For them.
and it was
long time.
It
3-0.
got to 3-0, right?
Yeah,
and I'm
3-0.
like, oh my gosh, they just and the fans were
Crazy. 27,000.
And I looked at him like, it's the first half, and there's confetti all over
the Galaxy
field.
threw out the confetti. It delayed the
It's
game.
just absolutely nuts, And then I had to leave. And then all of a sudden I'm going, did you see the finish? And I'm like, no. Then I had to go online and watch the finish. And that goal that guy scored, I don't even want to try to pronounce his name.
Ibrahimovic.
Was just,
How is it?
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
it was unreal. It was unreal.
He's a big dude. He's 6'4", 6'5".
But
it was just such a great look to get him open, and he just watched that thing bounce, and as it's coming down, he just volleyed that thing from 40 yards out. It was a laser.
Yeah, it was so
It was a
good.
laser. I mean, he hit it perfectly.
And
He
they
hit
didn't-
it perfectly.
And he
didn't bring
scores
him
the
in-
last 2 goals.
Yeah,
Well, so
77th and
Pontius had
91st.
scored. Pontius had scored to take the lid off, at about, I don't know, the 70th minute, 73rd minute, 71st minute, because Ibrahimovic came in at the 71 minutes. So there was only 20 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
So they brought him in late.
Yeah,
Just expecting maybe him to open things up. And he did. He did open things up a little bit. And it just felt like and once he got on the field, the momentum changed. The Pontius goal was huge,
Right.
Just huge, and then the Ibrahimovic to pull them, unbelievable. The Ibrahimovic goal was at the
77th minute.
that was his
that
second.
tied it.
Yeah,
that tied it.
Yeah.
Then he scored the winning
91st,
one.
yeah.
And then he scored the winning goal.
That's amazing because in hockey, I mean, a 3-goal lead is almost insurmountable.
Yeah,
in
and then
soccer, yeah.
and then the goal in stoppage time, ridiculous.
But the place was just
Oh, it's just electric. Yeah.
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 It's exciting to see. It really exciting to see.
He and rightfully so was the player of the week in the league player.
Yeah,
of the week.
and again, he's always a great interview, and people just love him and adore him. Like I said, he's got 36 million followers on social media.
Yeah.
He's adored, and his quote was, "They asked me to be Zlatan, and I was Latin."
Is that what's the status of that new stadium? Are the LAFC going to ever have a home game this year?
Yeah, it's almost done. It's almost done.
Oh, I thought they played their first game there. No.
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 They were in Seattle.
They were in
Portland,
Seattle.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then next week they're in Atlanta.
Yeah, they're almost done. I think after the Atlanta game, they come back
Well,
and
they're gonna
they'll christen the new stadium.
They're going to have a home-friendly
Oh,
stretch run down there.
yeah.
Down at the end there. All right, John. Green jacket time.
Well, yeah. You guys ready? And you think that Ohtani's been electric? I think this is going to be. I started looking at it, and the more I look at it, I think it's going to be one of the best Masters you'll ever see ever in history. And the reason why I say that is there are probably a good 15 players that are playing at the top of their game right now that are coming in. And, usually it's like these 5 or 6 guys.
Right.
But there's 15 players. 2 of them are 42 and 47 years old, right? With Tiger and Phil. And those guys even playing well, being past champions, is just adding to the buzz.
Yeah.
And I seriously started looking at this, and Bubba just won. He's playing good. Justin Thomas is playing well. Spieth had a great round in Houston, right? Shooting 66, could have been 63, right? Justin Rose, he pretty much he is in the top 5 in almost every category at the Masters.
Right.
Jason Day's been there for a week and a half, right? Just getting it all in. McIlroy just won at Bay Hill. The list goes on, right? Phil's won. Tiger's making runs now. It's just it's going to be
an exciting.
It could be a really
weekend.
great Sunday, right?
Yeah,
And you're going to have rain on Saturday night, which will soften up the greens for Sunday. And I just feel like it's going to be a lot of fun, right? And
Is Tiger in the hunt?
I think Tiger's he's in the top 15 in the hunt, but to me, I'm telling everybody to get off the Kool-Aid, stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Tiger's going to have to hit drivers down the stretch in major championships and show me. Now, he's been hitting irons and he's been hitting 3-woods, but you got to hit drivers at Augusta, right?
To take advantage of the par 5s.
Right. I mean, you can't hit 3-wood. You can hit 3-wood off of 10, but you can't hit it off 11. You need to hit it pretty much on 13 and 15 and 14, and so it's.
Yeah, I'm with you. He's got to hit the driver.
He's going to have to show me that he.
Right.
Now again, he came on, in his media deal and said, "I got a new shaft in my 3-wood and I got a new shaft in my driver, and things seem to be working." Still got to make a golf swing under the gun. So I'm obviously eliminating him, right? So
the jury's still out on that, but he's healthy.
And
that's
right.
So he's going to always be a threat when he's healthy.
And he's got a lot of confidence
Yeah.
there, right? He plays the place obviously great. So, it's like, yeah, he's struggling with the driver, but he's almost like going back to his home course, right? He plays well there, right?
Yeah.
He knows where to miss it. He knows how to play the golf course. But again, he's still going to have to hit drivers on the gun. if McIlroy plays like he was playing at Bay Hill, this could be stupid good for him, right? Because he can just bomb it, right? So, but again, he needs to putt well, and he's really got a lot of stuff on his shoulders when it comes to trying to win the Grand Slam, right? He's won every major except the Masters, So again, he's getting. The more you play Augusta, the better you're going to be able to play it, right? So, that's where I throw a guy out like Justin Thomas, because I just don't think he's played there enough yet, right? So, again, I think it's going to be phenomenal. I think the weather's going to be pretty good. It's going to go cold to hot, so you're going to have to really, other than wind swirling down, on Amen Corner, you're going to have to deal with temperature differences where ball flight,
Right.
So that's going to be kind of a key. So my top 5.
Before you get there,
Yeah.
I want to ask you something, because as a golfer and as a responsible gambler, obviously the odds come out, and there's a disparity between who the guys who can really win are and the guys that the odds makers know are going to be bet down.
Right.
So, for instance, Tiger Woods is 10-1.
Right.
And he's one of the shortest shots in the field with Spieth.
Right.
And then it's
And
Dustin.
Spieth is there because he's won there before,
Right.
but he's a very good putter, and you need to putt very well at Augusta.
So then it's Dustin Johnson 12-1, Justin Thomas, and Rory McIlroy. So those are the next guys. Again, some of it is based on how they're playing, and a lot of it is people are gonna bet on Rory, right?
Right, yeah.
And then 15-1 is Bubba, Justin Rose, and Phil Mickelson. Okay, again, Phil, that might be a little lower than you'd think.
As the year goes on, right, it's harder and harder, right? He's 47 now.
Right.
He hits it enough distance. It is not a very easy walk, right?
Right.
So,
So then you've got 20-1 Jason Day, 25-1 John Rahm and Paul Casey and Ricky Fowler, and then 35-1 Matsuyama and Sergio. So those are the odds. So we want to hear your 5.
Well, I have some guys, if you're looking at getting good odds. Okay. You're looking at getting great odds.
Okay, great
right?
odds. We want great odds.
Okay, so if you want big odds, take a guy like Russell Henley, right? You're going to get large odds for him, right? Great little putter, little grinder from Georgia, played at Georgia. He's played there before. A lot of Georgia guys usually get to play there.
Right.
And he can play pretty good in wind. So that's going to be like my largest sleeper, right?
Okay.
A guy that you can get at 45-1 that I really like, actually, Matt Kuchar, right? Went to Georgia Tech. He's played there a lot. He's played in the
Finished
Masters
fourth last year.
Right. He plays consistently there, right? Now I'm scooting up a little bit. So I like a guy like Paul Casey. Okay, I like Paul Casey. Plays consistent
Top
golf
10
there.
last year.
Great ball striker, right? So my top 5 are Justin Rose. He leads in, I think, almost every category. He's in the top 5 in every greens in regulation, putts per round, fairways hit, blah blah blah. He lost in a playoff to Sergio last year. I mean, it's just
Right, yeah.
Remember I had him picked last
Yeah, I
year.
remember that,
I'm
yeah.
picking him again this year.
I
right?
have him circled here.
Right. So Justin Rose, Paul Casey. I'm doing it on emotion here. I want to see Rory win the golf tournament to get that Grand Slam, get that monkey off his back.
Exactly.
Jordan Spieth, because of just how he likes the golf course. He's great with his speed putting. And then I'll take Matt Kuchar as another one.
Interesting.
So that's my top 5 guys. But again, you can tell me Mickelson, you can tell me Day, you can tell me Fowler, you could tell me Leishman, you could give me another 10 guys, and I'm like, absolutely, yep, those guys could possibly win it too. So I just think that it's going to come down to Sunday on the back nine, like it always does,
Right.
and who's making a run. And it wouldn't surprise me if somebody posts early and holds on and wins in a playoff or something like that.
Yeah, it should
So,
be.
You can't win it on Thursday, but you can sure lose it.
and then we had the par 3 tournament today. I don't know if you saw any highlights there.
No.
So guess who won? Nobody wants to win the par 3 tournament, right? Because there's never a person that's won the par 3. And you should see these young guys like Spieth. They're putting it up hills and trying to make like stupid putts, and Fowler's girlfriend's hitting putts for him. So his scorecard never works. But guess who won the par 3 tournament? Tom Watson.
You say that's
Won
hilarious.
and then on one of the holes, Nicklaus's grandson, they give him the club and Nicklaus's grandson makes a hole in one. And it was just
amazing.
Electric.
That's great.
He's hugging his grandson. The place is going nuts.
that's awesome.
Watson's high-fiving. Players high-fiving.
That's awesome.
What a great start.
Oh, it
Yeah,
was
that's
a
great.
great start. Nicholas shot 4 under on his own ball. I mean,
That's
these guys,
amazing.
it was great. Tony Fee now makes a hole in one, starts running down the fairway, sprains and pops his ankle out, then pops it back in like he's Rambo, right? And then starts limping away, goes and gets his golf ball. And I'm like, what is going on here? And the amount of people around it was, and it didn't rain. It was gorgeous. And if you guys get a chance to go watch it tonight, it'll probably be tape delayed again, for people that work during the day to watch it. And you'll see this highlight of Nicklaus's grandson making the hole in one. And Player actually gives you a play-by-play. He hits it, and Player's like, this has got a chance. And then it starts. And by the way, it's doing this down the hill, and it goes in at just a last rotation goes in.
That's great.
And it is a great thing to watch.
Amazing.
So I can't wait. I mean,
It's going to be a good tournament.
you can watch it on masters.org. You can, I think, I don't know how they run it. Is it ESPN on Thursday, Friday, and then CBS does Saturday, Sunday. So it should be fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping that there's more Americans in the top 10 than there were last year.
Yeah.
I don't know that was any indication of how the course was playing last year, or it just so happened that there were a lot of players from outside of America who were just hitting the ball better last April. So,
and the good thing that you're starting to see, right? And I wonder if a Nicklaus did this with anybody like a Palmer or whatever. They always want to have rivalries, in golf.
Right.
And, and it was Tiger and Phil forever. And they went out and played a practice round on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it was like the highlight. And that all started when Tiger became a captain, assistant captain at Hazeltine, and so they started putting in, Davis Love put everybody in pods, and Tiger and Phil became closer as buddies, and then Phil had a lot of good things on the Faraday show to talk about Tiger, like we're playing for multi-millions of dollars because of him. And then they did a whole thing they did a whole thing on Tiger this week on how they talked to the Ebersols and the CBS CEOs and all this kind of stuff on when he started winning tournaments and he won the Masters. They all kind of said, "Hey, look at boys, the PGA Tour said we're gonna have to renegotiate our contracts because he's going to start moving the needle."
Yeah.
And he did. And Phil said, he goes, "You know what? When I came out here, we were playing for $1 million. Now we're playing for 1.5 to the winner. And it's all because of him.
Yeah.
It's all because of him.
Exactly.
Everybody should go say thank you to that guy, right?
Yep.
And so I think when he came out and said that kind of stuff, Tiger's like, that was really cool of him to say that kind of stuff. And that friendship's starting to become better and better.
Yeah,
they
that's
actually teamed. They didn't play against each other. They took on Freddie and Peters. So they were a team. Like that's so now watch. Tiger's got a good chance of becoming a captain's pick for the Ryder Cup, and don't be surprised if those two are playing together.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Yeah. They did it, Hal Sutton did it, and it was a disaster, right? But those two guys aren't the best players in the world now. Usually when you're doing that, you're like, why am I putting the two best players together when they should be split apart, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Now they're not, but that'd be kind of fun to have them play together.
Yeah, they would be.
I heard that Tiger also talking about how at some of his lower moments and his darker times that Phil was very encouraging and supportive of him and on his comeback trail. And so, you bury those hatchets.
Sure.
These guys will go down in history together.
Because you know what? I'd love to see it in my lifetime, but it's our children that are going to be watching the three of them playing with somebody else, like Nicklaus, Watson, and Player was, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to be seeing that with Tiger, Phil, and they're going to be the guys that are going to be sitting on the first tee and hitting their first tee shots to start the Masters at 8:00 in the morning, right? That friendship needs to get better, and it's starting now, which is great.
That's great.
Now, who's that third person going to be? We don't know, but those two guys are going to be involved in golf for a long time from this point forward.
Yeah.
And because they're both champions at Augusta, I think, having that friendship start to get strong is good for golf.
And wouldn't the Masters love to see them on the final pairing?
I mean, if
Leaders coming in on the final day.
That'd be a dream come true.
You think and CBS would be just salivating on,
totally.
on getting 6.0 on a watch.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah.
All right, I think that's a good place to end it. Anybody have any closing thoughts?
Have fun this weekend,
Yeah,
that's right.
It's a great time in sports now. We got baseball, hockey, and basketball, and a major going in golf. So I don't know if you got some time to sit on the couch, but enjoy your time.
Yeah,
I'm on my way to Arizona to play some golf in the morning and watch the Masters in the afternoon.
Attaboy.
So
All right, well, we are out.
Good night.
peace.